Hey folks, this is Dr. Akins here, and I'm with
Dana Thomas.
Hey Dana. Well, tell us a little
Hey.
bit about yourself and what you currently do.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm the founder and author of Happy Teacher
Hey,
Revolution. We're a
okay,
Baltimore-born global movement
okay.
on a mission to support the mental health and well-being of our educators by organizing and conducting support groups for teachers in order to prioritize teacher happiness, retention, and professional sustainability.
Would you consider this a self-care for educators, or am I limiting the scope?
It's beyond self-care. It
Okay.
extends to community care.
Oh,
So
okay.
I released a book, Happy Teacher Revolution, the
Okay.
educator's roadmap to claiming and sustaining joy, which is broken up into 3 parts.
Okay.
Well-being as it relates to the individual self,
Mm-hmm.
well-being as it relates to relationships and
Okay.
stakeholders and students, and well-being as it relates to systemic change.
Okay. So we are in a time when there is a lot of teacher
That
burnout.
part. Yeah.
So
Say it again a little louder for the people in
we
the
are
back.
the
You
part
listening?
where there is a lot of teacher burnout.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
hard to find
Yeah.
educators these days just
Yeah.
because of society,
Of
COVID,
course.
things that have happened.
Yeah.
And what if I'm one of those people that's on the verge? I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it in tomorrow. What are some tips that I can find within your book that might kind of bring me back?
Yeah. So the biggest tip is that self-care isn't treating yourself.
Okay.
Self-care is taking care of yourself.
Okay.
Sometimes self-care is deleting,
Okay.
is doing less, is
Okay.
saying no. And sometimes no can be really scary
Not
for some
easy.
people to say. I'm
Yeah.
still learning
Uh-huh.
that powerful word is
Sure.
no. So a strategy I suggest to folks
Mhm.
is maybe saying, I'll wait and see,
Okay.
or let me get back to you on that. Because some folks are wanting that immediate yes, and
Yes.
sometimes we actually have to sit and reflect with ourselves whether that's actually doable or not.
So a wait and see can often end up being a low key no, in a sense. So is that kind of what the wait and see is, or do you recommend like we do actually need to follow up and say whatever that means? Like, tell me a little more about.
Yeah, wait and see for me, it's really an invitation to check in with yourself,
Okay.
your own well-being. Am I on this spectrum of burnout? Am I going to be burnt out if I say yes to this committee, if I do the extra after school things, if I sign up on the weekends to do X, Y, and Z? So really it's a method for me to check in with my body of, okay, how did I sleep last night? Am I hydrated? Is this something that I can really commit with a full-bodied yes? If it's not a full-bodied yes, then it's a no.
What is your take on self-care days for educators? Like sometimes calling in sick, thinking about, I gotta have sub plans, I gotta put that together, I'm gonna let other teachers down because I'm gone, boom, boom, boom. What is your take on self-care days?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that folks need to invest time and energy into themselves.
Okay.
I believe in taking mental health days.
Okay.
I can only speak for myself. I taught before the pandemic for almost a decade and was experiencing extreme burnout in the last year of my career. I took more sick days in that last year than I did in the 6 years combined because I was so burnt out and so overwhelmed. So if we're not able to actually consider the long-term sustainability in this career and take those days when we need to, I really think that teachers have been wearing their sick days like a badge of honor. Like, I got 140 days, look at me. And I think perfect attendance, look at me coming to school with the flu or coming to school with COVID. You know what I mean? I really think we need to celebrate the teachers who set boundaries, who have a rich personal life, who go home to their families and loved ones and spend their weekend doing whatever it is, and not grading, leaving work at work. And that comes down to boundary setting, which can be really challenging. I think teachers oftentimes feel like they need to be on demand and available. But I think that if we actually are setting those boundaries and modeling those boundaries, that is a huge lesson for our students. I believe the best social emotional curriculum money can buy is a regulated teacher, a teacher with a regulated nervous system.
Okay, so boundaries. How do I create boundaries with my supervisor, my AP, my principal, whoever it is? Because sometimes that can be a challenge, especially let's say I'm a brand new teacher, first year. I don't have that clout, not the OG yet.
Yeah.
What are some strategies that you can give when it comes to creating boundaries for our supervisors?
Yeah, I think leading from a place of authenticity and honesty and saying, hey, look, I really want to show up for my best self for this work. But for me, what that means is not putting too much on my plate right now. Or for me, what that means is leaving work at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Or that means for me is, not taking home all this work on the weekends. And so I think if we can help equip our new teachers with that skill set, we wouldn't see 50% of teachers leaving in the first 5 years.
Okay. Well, on the other side, for administrators, what tips could you give to them when it comes to supporting teachers for retention, longevity for our staff?
Yeah, I think our administrators are extremely overwhelmed and stressed. I think that oftentimes goes unnamed and unacknowledged. It can be really isolating and lonely at the top. And I think that there is oftentimes a moment where it's lost in translation of what we encourage and support our students with is often not what we encourage and support our teachers with. So I would just encourage them that, you know, some of these best practices when it comes to social emotional learning, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so on and so forth, it applies to the grown-ups too.
Okay. It applies to the grown-ups too.
That's it.
Donna, Dana,
like Dana Banana, you got it. No worries.
Dana, I have learned a lot on this, and I need this book, especially I needed it around COVID for sure.
Yeah.
Any final words of advice you want to provide to our listeners out there?
Yeah. So my hero is Miss Frizzle. She's the ultimate STEM teacher.
Magic School Bus.
The Magic School Bus. She says, take chances, make mistakes, get messy. And I've been on my own journey to joy and following the roadmap of joy. I live on a school bus.
Yay.
So I am so thrilled to be on this school bus living my dream of bringing joy and well-being to teachers. I think the best way to impact children is by supporting the adults who care for them. And so I just hope to leave listeners with that you can't pour from an empty bowl and you can't lead from an empty soul. So do something today to fill your soul, fill your cup. That's the best thing you can do.
Okay. Well, if we have some folks that want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, check out happyteacherrevolution.com. Send me an email, hello@happyteacherrevolution. Follow us on Instagram. I'd love to connect.
There it is. Thank you, Dana, so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Welcome, folks. Dr. Akins is here, and I'm with
Dr. Jacqueline Sanderlin.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you currently do.
Well, thank you for having me. Currently, I am the CEO of the Why Not Incubator, and that is a nonprofit organization that is designed to support youth with life skills like communication, confidence, and listening skills. So those soft skills they need for work and for career in the future. I am just recently retired and now following my passion of supporting my peeps in education.
Well, congratulations on a retirement. I'm assuming that is well-deserved. And so you're running the nonprofit, Why Not?
Yes, the Why Not Incubator. We do several things. We, one, support our scholars who are not at risk, but I call them at potential.
Sure.
And so we work with them in schools and work with their teachers. We provide professional development. We provide workshops, success skills, and so forth. I'm glad
you don't use the term at risk. I have never liked that term. It's always like, well, at risk of what? You know, what are you insinuating? You know what I'm saying? Right. So you said at what?
Potential.
Potential.
And if I could just add on to that, because I believe when we are actually saying at risk, we're probably even perpetuating the negative pipeline that's been there. And what I'd like to do is change that trajectory into a success trajectory.
Absolutely. Okay. And you're also an author.
I am.
So I see you have a book here.
I do. The Why Not Challenge.
So tell us about that.
So the Why Not Challenge is based on my experience as a principal. And I found out it was important to support leaders in developing community partnerships. So the work we do is great, but it's very difficult. It's hard. It's challenging. We need the help of our community partners to help create pathways for our scholars.
Yeah, absolutely. So who would you say this book is for the students or for the educators?
Oh, this is definitely for the educators, for leaders, for leadership teams, for community liaisons, for really anyone in the K-12 or even higher ed space. It's about building capacity and connections with partners that are outside of our building.
I love it. So we're in an age where AI is really taking over. That's like you said, trajectory. That's where things are going.
Yeah.
What are some things that we can do to incorporate AI into that why not phrase, that mindset?
Well, it's a great question. It's current and it's relevant. And I would say, one, let's probably understand that AI is about innovation. And if we can start there with understanding how are we bringing in innovative ideas and innovative spaces, we won't be so afraid of this two-letter word called AI. A lot of people are afraid of it. Often they think or miscommunicate that that's going to really take away, when really with the right perspective, we do need to be more creative. We do need to be more innovative for the scholars that we're teaching today. And so I think what we should do is be more embracing and acceptant of what are we not doing that we could do better where our scholars have a creative, innovative space that we're not already doing.
Okay. All right. I like this. So, and reality of it is AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
And I like that you're instilling those skills early on. So that's very helpful.
Thank you. It's an attitude mind shift for those of us who didn't grow up in that space. And I won't even think that or say or pretend that it's easy. But I think with training and understanding that there are some shifts. One of the shifts that I will say is we must shift from engagement to empowerment.
Okay.
Our scholars have to be more than engaged. They actually have to have a voice.
Okay.
They actually have to collaborate. They actually have to be in groups because that's the type of career fields they're going into. Most of the jobs that they're going to be going to do not have walls.
No.
They do not usually have an organizational chart anymore. It's more of a team building.
Yeah.
And so that has to start in our schools.
So are you saying that you're advocating for us restructuring the way our schools look?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have to advocate in the restructuring of the classroom.
Okay.
We're very antiquated, still really based off of the 50s.
Agreed.
And we're now in 2025.
Yeah.
So we have to have rooms that have space, that chairs that move easily into a group. We have to create spaces where they're not going to the library, but the library is right there with them because they have these phones, they have iPads, they have technology right there. How are we creating a space that's conducive for the type of learning that they're doing today?
Preparing for the future. So one might argue that there's a lot of jobs that are remote. So in some sense, some of our students might be working alone just because they'll be in their household and things like that. Is there a way that we can accommodate our classrooms to kind of model what some of that remote situation looks like? Or are you saying that just let's keep it more on the team where there's open space things?
Well, no, I think there's absolutely room for our scholars to learn independently.
Okay.
We still teach, and we should teach with an I do, we do, you do method, where there is time for them to work alone and to work independently,
Yes.
to problem solve. And then there's a time to come back together and learn how to actually have a conversation and work as a team. So we must have both. There's a way to do both to achieve the same thing.
I love it. Good answer. Good answer. Okay.
I think that's all I can bring.
Oh, cool. Well, listen, I've learned a lot. And again, we want folks to get in touch. The Why Not Challenge, I think, sounds like a very important book. Any final words of advice that you want to provide to our listeners out there?
Well, absolutely. I would like to say to all educators that are out there, understand that there is a shift and you're part of that shift. You're needed, you're valued, and you're very, very important. Continue the work you're doing, but continue to learn because we cannot do this work without learning ourselves. And through the Why Not Challenge spirit, I challenge you to have a why not mindset. That's bigger than just finding your why. It's now going to the next step of your why not. And so if you'd like to know more, please go to whynotincubator.org and you'll learn more information there. And we're excited about supporting schools, about how to build classroom communities, how to support leaders, and change in this new age.
There it is. Dr. J, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, take care.
All right, you too.
All right, folks. Dr. Akins is here, leading equity. I am here with
Dr. Renee Bryant.
Hey, Dr. Renee. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you currently do.
Well, first, I want to thank you, Dr. Akins, for sharing your expertise. You see here, what are you bringing to the potluck?
Yes.
Dr. Akins is bringing his expertise to the potluck at this conference, STEM for Real, STEM for All Leadership Symposium. And I just want to thank you for sharing your expertise and sharing your talent and doing a live podcast here. So incredible. I remember getting your emails back during the pandemic, and I was like, this guy's doing amazing work. And now, finally, 5 years later, it only took half a decade, but we are together in the room. So that makes me so happy. So yes, my name is Dr. Renee Bryant. You can call me Renee, and I have the pleasure of serving now. I spent many years, I started out as a bilingual special ed, believe it or not, para ed, so meaning like a bilingual instructional assistant in the classroom, was a teacher, national board certified teacher, BCLAD teacher, teacher of the year for Corona Narco, all the things, right? Love teaching. Nice. And then got that tap, like, okay, it's time to move into formal leadership. I thought maybe I can make an even greater difference, especially for adults who then serve our scholars. And so, I spent a decade in leadership at the site level and the district level. And so now I get to help all those district leaders in my new role, which is adjunct professor for the doctoral programs at Cal State University Fullerton, where I've been for 4 years teaching the organizational theory course.
Nice.
And then at University of Laverne, where I got my doctorate in organizational theory. And so, yes, now I get to help those students at Cal State Fullerton and those students at University of Laverne. And just as a little plug, a lot of programs, like a lot of people say, like, I can't get a doctorate, I can't afford it, I don't have time. And so I'm really excited to let people know that not just University of Laverne and Fullerton, but a lot of universities are going to an online program.
Okay.
They're going to a dissertation in practice, looking at a problem of practice at their site. So they get to make it more work embedded. So it's doable as far as time management. And like the program at University of Laverne, it's half the price that I paid for mine.
Wow.
So I just want to encourage people that are thinking like, I can't do it, I can't get a doctorate. Yes, you can. If you and you have a PhD. So I have an EDD, but he has a PhD. If you and we can do it, everyone else can do it too. We believe in them, right?
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Was it a PhD or EDD program?
Yeah. So both that I'm in are educational doctorates. So they're
Okay.
EDDs.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you're going to have to work harder if you want a PhD. That's for sure.
Well,
a few more years, a little more money. Yeah. And besides that, I do have
Yes.
a podcast as well.
Okay.
It's called the Your Story Matters podcast. Comes out weekly except for the holidays.
Okay.
And I'm excited to have you on in the
Yes,
future.
we're gonna make it happen.
And I really want to make sure that people hear stories of educators, of people around education, people who went through educational system. I guess that's about everyone, but really have been focusing on educators. I want to make sure people know about the incredible things that are happening in our school systems, whether it's public charters or traditional public schools. I went to traditional public school. I wouldn't be where I'm at without all those amazing people, from the classified folk and all around that make the magic happen, to the teachers who welcome me. I attended, it was like 7 schools in the first 7 years of my schooling.
Wow.
So I couldn't, I mean, really, I should be a statistic, right? Instead, I had teachers, knowing the skin I come in, the privilege that I have, teachers that helped me to get through. So the podcast is all about, let's tell the positive stories and tell our own stories. So I really enjoy doing that. And then if that's not enough, right? We're both authors too. So this is the Ed Branding book, How to Build Educational Leadership with Social Influence. She has a little sticker. So I am not Latina, but my co-author, she is half Latina. She's Black and Puerto Rican. And so we entered the International Latino Book Awards and we got an honorable mention.
Nice.
And you know what? That's okay with me, because do you remember, because you're a teacher, they have the Newbery Award-winning books and then their honor books. And the honor books are just as good, right? So I'm excited about this honorable mention. All right. So the book, it is about this topic I was talking about, right? It's this idea that we as educators or scholars, families, staff, anyone around education, board members, we all need to be telling the positive story about what's happening, because there are so many incredible things happening, but the public doesn't know.
Okay.
And maybe if someone went to school and it wasn't a positive experience for them, they carry that with them. So we want to make sure that they know that public education is innovating. We're trying to get away from the factory model. We're trying to make sure that our scholars are ready for their future, not the future like what we're living in right now. But so it's a book to empower people with some strategies on how to really tell the story. And of course, and I know that in order to tell a story overall, you have to first know yourself, right?
Yes.
So we help people go through their values activity. What are your values, your top 5 values? How do you define them, and what do they look like in action?
Okay.
And then, board of directors activity, meaning like, who are the people who are going to hold you accountable to what you say are your values, and who are going to help you get through maybe to the next step? And no, you can't have all your family, right? They're going to say you're awesome all the time. So you have to have some people who are critical friends on your personal board of directors, networking activities. And Yeah, just a sleuth of strategies and tips and tricks and stories, because we know that people, they learn best through narrative, right? We include our own personal stories of marketing and education, because Lynette White is a PIO, a public information officer by trade. So you have my side of the leadership, administration, teacher side, and then her side, which is a public information side. So thank you. Let me tell you all that.
Okay. Thank you for explaining this, and it's got me thinking about some questions as far as your definition of branding.
Yeah.
Like when I hear about, like, I know what that signifies. Like if I see golden arches, things like
Yeah.
that. So I had a conversation with someone once, and they mentioned that branding is basically, what are people saying about you when you're not in the room?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about branding education, are we saying what are people talking about as far as education goes when we're not in a room? Like, tell me a little bit more about like the definition.
Yeah, so a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B. So I do appreciate the Jeff Bezos quote. We have it in our book. It is what people say about you when you're not in the space. And that does apply to schools. So if we are not in front of the narrative, we're not taking control of the story, then people may have, as the kids say, they have a little twisted, right? So it may not be the accurate story because they just don't know. They haven't visited a school. I'm really big on invite your alumni back to the campuses. Invite seniors to come to the campuses and do learning walks. Let them see the investment. We all pay taxes. There are childless people, seniors. They don't have children at your schools. But how powerful would it be to have a learning walk for the community to see the incredible things? And yes, post and do videos and all those things. But yes, so first, yes, what people say about you when you're not in the room, what they say about your organization, your site. The other side of it, and Dave Burgess, the publisher for the Ed Branding book for DBC, and also
Teach Like a Pirate, right?
Teach Like a Pirate, Innovator's Mindset with George Crook, Adam Malcolm's book, so many fantastic, Allison Apsey, just incredible authors, Matt Miller with his AI for education.
Shout out to Matt.
Right, like 180 books, 80 different authors. So I was talking to Dave recently, and he put it really well. He said, your brand is your promise. I really like that definition too, because it is what you're saying you're going to do, right? So then you need to do what you say. And so, a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B when we talk about branding.
Okay, I love this. So do you recommend that educators get on social media? Because, there's all this, you got to be careful what you say. And like, do I put a disclaimer? This is not the representation of my school, my district. So there's a lot of, back and forth as far as, should I have social media and who am I allowed to have follow me? Because, do I have students? What do I block them? Like, so give us a little bit of tips, if you will, or strategies when it comes to creating social media accounts.
Yeah, I think those are great questions. So first, I always advise people to go to, if they have a public information officer, to go to their part of the website to see what board policies exist around social media if you are representing your district. So let's say you are going to have so back in the day, I had a Miss Bryant's class Twitter, but like no one was, even the school wasn't using Twitter. The district wasn't using Twitter then. So they had no advice on that, right? So it was like the wild, wild west, let's say, back then. And so now though, there are a lot of model board policies that come from California School Board Association or the National School Board Association. And even the PIOs, they have their own organizations like NSPRA and CalSPRA, so a national organization and the California organization. So those all have guiding policies and documents of, what schools should and shouldn't, be posting. So you want to know, do I have a passive or an active press release or photo release? So that's a first thing, because you never want to post photos of your scholars if you don't have the rights to do so. So if you have a passive release, that means that only those who are opting out will have forms. And then you as a teacher need to make sure that you put the little emojis over their heads. You don't put them in. At a high school district that I just came from, that's not as much of an issue, but at the elementary level, that's definitely an issue. And then as far as teachers having sites, like their own personal site, look, really, according to the laws, districts cannot, you have freedom of speech, right?
Okay,
They
right.
cannot micromanage what you're saying and
Mhm.
doing. I always advise educators, just like we would advise our scholars, you need to be really careful what you do post because it'll be there forever.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing. Two, even though you are posting on your personal page, you are still an employee of a district. And this is something I didn't realize until I got into administration, which is when you are an employee of an organization, you are always representing your superintendent and your board of trustees. And if you have an elected board of trustees, then they are always representing their contingency. So I really think that it's important for people to just kind of, and we have this in the book too, it's this idea of like the golden rule, the platinum rule, and then the whole ecosystem, right,
Okay.
of a district. So, first the platinum rule, golden rule we know is treat others the way they want to be treated.
Yes.
The platinum rule I learned at University of Laverne is treat people the way they want to be treated, because the
Okay.
golden rule is all about me and how I want to be treated. It's not about you. You may want to be treated differently, right? And then I think it's I'm going to say it wrong, but the final rule is about the entire ecosystem.
Okay.
And it is making sure that you are thinking maybe 50,000 feet above. Like, how is what I'm saying and doing going to affect the entire ecosystem?
Gotcha.
Meaning to the board of trustees, my principal, whatever level that you're at. And I just think that that's a good filter to say, like, is this something I'm just heated about right now? Is this something that really I want to exist forever? Even if, because the other thing is, sometimes we have, okay, just our friends will see it. But then in the settings, it could be your friends of your friends that can see it.
Right.
And people can always screenshot.
Yep.
Now with AI, I just think it's really, really important to have clarity and intention when you're posting. And don't post on whims. I think that that's good
Don't
advice.
like emotional posting.
Don't
things
emotional
like that.
post. Yeah,
Okay.
unless you're just happy, not drunk happy, but happy, right? Just like, sober happy. So yeah. And I think for schools, I think there are some sites here that don't have social media. And I'm like, oh my goodness, think like some of them did presentations. It's like you're doing like a national, international conference and you're presenting on best practices. Like one of you should have be posting, live streaming, like what you're doing. So your community understands like, oh my goodness, like we're famous, like for what we're doing. That's so great. And right now they're doing it and it's invisible. It's in a vacuum. People don't even know. So like I'm posting and like one's like, okay, I'm going to start a LinkedIn right now. I'm like, great. I'm going to tag your superintendent. They're going to be so happy to know everything you're doing. So I think in this day and age there's so many different competing institutions and organizations with declining enrollment, especially in California and some parts of the United States, other parts, we all need to be thinking about how we tell our story so that people are excited to align their values with our values and to keep their kids in our districts and have the scholars excited about being in the district. So it is on us, whether we have a public information officer or not. And I always say, now that I've worked with a lot of PIOs and big districts, that it cannot rest on that person. One person cannot tell the story for 54,000 scholars or 26,000 scholars or even 9,000 scholars. And even if you have a small district that, let's say, is like 150, still one person. So how do we empower? And I just learned that that's not a good word to use, but how do we liberate our scholars, to feel like, hey, I can tell the story of what I'm learning and put that and why that's powerful, right? And our families too, so that it's not siloed in one person's job, but that we're all responsible. So I would say those are some tips, some advice around social media, and some whys of the purpose of why it's important.
I love it. Well, listen, I've learned a lot, and hold up the book again so folks
Yes.
can see. If you haven't
The
grabbed yourself a
Ed
copy.
Branding book, How to
Yes.
Build Educational Leadership with Social Influence. So it's
There
some
you go.
leadership, some branding, some marketing, and some stories, some
Yeah.
good stories.
Well, if we have some folks that want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach you online?
Thank you for asking. So mostly I'm available at Dr. RENAEBRYANT, like Anita Bryant or Kobe Bryant. Now you know how old I am. And that's about it. And I only put the doctor in front of it, to inspire people. If they don't have it, they know, okay, let me ask this lady about this and see if it's for me. But yeah, Dr. Renee Bryant on most socials. And I think it's Renee Bryant, EDD on LinkedIn. And then, of course, drrenebryant.com.
Yay!
Yay!
Dr. Renee Bryant, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. And we're coming for the side hug. Oh, okay. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. All right, this is Dr. Akins here, and I'm with
Asia.
Asia. Well, it's nice to meet you, Asia.
Nice to meet you too.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you currently do.
So I'm from Hawaii and I came all the way here for the STEM symposium. My background is Hawaiian Studies, Hawaiian Language, but I'm dipping my toes into STEM and I also teach economics and psychology on top of everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
so which island are you from?
I'm from Oahu.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. So say you do economics, high school level. What brought you to this? Because this is a STEM event. So I'm just curious the connection.
So I actually met Lena back in Oahu and she's great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I need to see her again.
Okay.
And seeing that this event is very diverse and very women-led, like I was already pulled in from the first speaker that we had. And so far, I've been loving it.
Were you here last year?
No, this is my first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are friends with Dr. Lena. So that was a connection because I believe she did live. I didn't know which island she was on, but I know she was in Hawaii for a bit. So you traveled here to come and support. Very good. What are you picking up? What are some of the things you've learned so far?
I really love how this symposium isn't afraid to talk about the elephant in the room, which is like systemic oppression, the current administration that we're under and how it's affecting education itself or how it's been attacking education opinion. But I love how we're not afraid to talk about these struggles because I found that in Hawaii, people are still not as up to par, I guess, with what's happening. And we're a little bit delayed and we're very afraid to speak about these things. And I just feel like we need to stop being afraid to talk about them.
So with that being said, what type of message have you been saying in your classes, maybe even at your school, at your level? Like, what are some of the advocacy work that you're doing?
I've revamped my entire economics curriculum to kind of pinpoint what this current administration is doing. For example, we've looked at the federal budget, what's happening with the government shutdown, and if we should be funding international aid. In other words, should we be giving $17 billion to Israel?
Okay. What are your thoughts there?
I feel like students need to be more informed about where their taxpayer money is going to. They're almost not there yet, but to get them kind of more involved in social justice. And coming from Hawaii, you know, we are indigenous, we are native. So it's understanding their cultural identity as well as being involved in STEM and leadership. And that's my whole master's thesis, having indigenous minds be put in powers of position instead of those hard labor, blue collar jobs. We want to see more enlightened faces, I guess, from more historical background, since over time, Indigenous people have been oppressed for so long.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I teach history, and I remember teaching about Hawaii and how it was acquired part of the United States. But, you know, I know there was a lot of pushback during that time as far as Hawaii wanted to remain independent, and so there's some issues there. So I'm assuming that some of the communication when it comes to teaching history and economics is part of your curriculum?
Decolonization, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of Hawaii people don't even really realize the systemic oppression that they're under. So that's a whole big thing is getting them to understand the correct version of history instead of the Western version of history.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think everyone can benefit from.
Okay, let's talk about AI for a second. Are there some things that you're utilizing with AI in your classroom?
I utilize AI in a lot of lesson planning and curriculum building. I'll have the idea, but I don't let AI do all the work. Because AI, there's still kind of some hiccups that we got to work out. I wouldn't say it's 100% foolproof yet. I want to still be mindful of what I'm teaching, but using AI as a tool, but not as an entire lesson planning curriculum kind of thing.
All right. Well, is there any final words of advice you want to provide to either teachers or maybe history teachers, anything that you want to share?
I just think that a lot of us need to wake up. And a lot of us need to promote our students to have more independency, more social awareness, and just to be involved with our current political status instead of just watching it pass by.
Absolutely.
We are in a very difficult situation right now with what's been going on. And I think that a lot of people are scared of the younger generation, which I think they should be. But as far as going forward, we need to stay aware. And we need to stay steadfast because lots of things are happening every day. I can't even keep up sometimes, but that's about it.
Stay aware.
Stay aware.
Lots of things are happening. Absolutely. Well, I'm here with Asia. Thank you so much. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure meeting you. All right, folks, it's Dr. Akins here, and I'm with
Douglas Corbin.
Douglas Corbin. So you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you currently do.
This is my 20th year in education. I'm currently a middle school principal at Sequoia Middle School in Mount Diablo Unified School District. This is year 3 for me at this campus. Prior to that, I worked in alternative ed for about 15 years or so, maybe even more, between working as a teacher in juvenile hall and at ranches and then on to community school programs and trying to revamp those programs.
Okay, so you're here for STEM for All conference. You're a school principal. There had to have been a reason that brought you here. Tell us about that.
Well, from my time in alternative ed, I saw the power of science education, working with Black and brown students in the Bay Area that hadn't been exposed to all the high-tech opportunities and exposure that they would get in the area that they live in. So I wanted to bring those opportunities and experiences to the classroom. I saw how education was able to help the kids that get left behind as a tool, as a mechanism to push them forward and get them re-engaged in school. So that really always stuck with me. Now, currently at the school that I'm at, I'm trying to leverage science, put science on a higher pedestal. Of course, like some of our presenters say, in education, the focus is always on reading and math. But I know that science can become a great equalizer with education. And so I'm here to expose my teachers to the testimonies and the experience of folks that's been doing this work for a long time so they can feel a little more motivated and empowered to bring or help support me in these initiatives to revamp our science education.
All right. So if you were to focus on like one area within science, for example, what is something that you would want your teachers to focus in?
Well, of course, like the basics, making sure everything is grade level appropriate and grounded in standards, but then taking it to another level of bringing more relevance and equity, cultural responsiveness, science, so that the students in the classroom can feel a connection to what's being taught because, they can see a reflection of themselves in the curriculum.
Yeah. And okay. They want to see themselves in a curriculum. So I teach science myself. And one of the things I think is very important is, like you said, making sure that I'm looking at my class and the content that I'm presenting matches up. So are you providing any sort of guidance to your teachers? I don't know what your demographics of your students look like, but are you providing some of that kind of guidance to them?
Absolutely. Well, our demographics we're 45% Latino, Hispanic, and then our next largest portion of students are Asian and white. We also have a large population of Middle Eastern students that are coming into our campuses recently. So we're having a demographic shift on our campuses, and I'm just trying to help our teachers to go with the shift as opposed to teaching things the way that they were taught in the past. So that's the part where I'm trying to motivate and inspire teachers to break out of those old ways of conforming, and then to try to embrace some new engaging practices to support the new demographic of students that they have in their classrooms right now.
All right, I love that. So if there was any sort of, lessons that you've learned throughout this process you want to provide to other principals, especially maybe middle school principals out there, what would that be?
I think I missed a part of the previous question. Some of the stuff that we're doing to try to revamp it, our science instruction is we're promoting as our professional development in our district, and I'm really honing in at our campus is promoting science of reading across all subject areas. So we're talking really about literacy skills and how, regardless of what you're teaching outside of ELA, all teachers should be embracing that practice. So that's one of the things that we're doing. And then we're doing a lot of data desegregation, and our teachers are looking at data. And then we're doing some professional development at our site that's being led by STEM for Real around the instructional coaching piece, giving them guidance and support on how to just kind of revamp our curriculum to make sure that it makes sense and that it embeds all of the things that the teachers want and the districts want. So that we're working together in that process right now to make that happen.
Okay. So final words of advice that you can provide to those watching this.
What I'm learning right now is that the progress of change in schools is a really slow process. And at times it could be some hand-to-hand combat, but you have to make sure that even though as leaders that we're empathetic and we're supporting and we're promoting love and all of those things, that we can't take things personal and things aren't going the way that we want them to and on our timeline. So you got to take, if one person is taking one step forward and another person is taking 2 miles forward, you got to embrace where everybody is at and appreciate the progress that they're making.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Mr. Douglas, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I am here. Dr. Akins is here. What's your name again?
Dr.
Wynn.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Oh, we were on the call together.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, the other day.
Yes, sir.
So you're presenting as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you teach math, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about what is your main focus when it comes to math? Are you helping out teachers that are math teachers, or are you tell me a little bit more about what you teach?
So I teach at a community college, College of Alameda, which is part of the Peralta Community College District. It's based in Oakland, and I teach community college students. And the range of students is some high school students, a lot of 18 to 24, and then all the way up to 60, 65-year-old students. Yeah.
Okay. So what subjects specifically with math?
I was teaching the whole range.
Okay.
And that included arithmetic, up to calculus 1. So now there's some new laws that essentially schools don't teach remedial courses anymore, and schools don't teach California community colleges, that is, don't teach preparatory calculus classes anymore. So no more pre-calculus, no more trig. I'm a big fan of that because that increases access to the courses that students actually need. So students aren't taking all these extra courses at community college. So I teach calculus now.
Okay.
And I look forward to teaching the new calculus course. That's the open access calculus course. And so I'm expecting the demographics of that student population to look very, very different from what I've traditionally seen. And then I expect it to be more reflective of the student population that is Glenn, Alameda, San Leandro, and Berkeley.
Got you. Okay, so let's talk about this calculus, because I interviewed a math teacher not too long ago, and he said he believes that all teachers should have a basic understanding up to calculus. What are your thoughts there?
I would say yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Great. You know what the yes is, what your students, if I'm thinking elementary school, that this is what the students are we're building up to, or same thing for middle school. This is what students are building up to. So I can understand why that's a yes. But I would also say a no, in that not everybody uses calculus 1 on an everyday basis. And that calculus 1 is primarily for engineering, primarily for business related stuff. And how many of our students go into engineering? How many of our students go into business? And that's just a question that, or by the time the students get to community college, I see the number of students interested in engineering is very low compared to, let's say, psychology or something like that.
Okay.
And that's not to say that we shouldn't, or that's not to say that schools are doing a bad job of promoting engineering. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just saying that that's just not where students go.
Tell me about how math relates to instructional practices when it comes to artificial intelligence.
So I think within the context of my classes, the content, I'm not teaching content of coding, or at least I haven't figured out. And I know in some stats classes, they teach R and Python because that's appropriate for stats. Okay, got it. I'm not sure, or I haven't figured out where the coding is, especially towards AI in a calculus class. Okay, we haven't figured out yet. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think students are going to automatically use AI to do their math problems. And so I'm like, well, then students should figure out how to use AI to do their math problems. In particular, math teachers and faculty should, this is my thought, and I'm crazy, should figure out prompts and projects and assignments that include the use of AI. Because students are going to use it anyway. We should work with them in tandem in there. So one is like the classroom piece of like assignments and stuff. I also think AI can be used for other things that are related to kind of being, I was just talking to an AI guy over there. I was like, you know what? I need, if a student misses an assignment, I need the AI to directly reach out to the student. Hey, with my prompts, of course, my voice that it's been learning about how to talk to students. So like, that's what I'm looking for, an early alert system, if you will. So I would like that. I would like what the gentleman over there, he's like, we're having AI that'll give feedback to students and about the concepts. This is a concept that you may have missed or something like that. So I think that's kind of cool. I would like the AI to be able to engage with students with deeper thinking, be able to ask students back and forth questions. But a lot of math or a lot of things that I run into in my math class isn't quite content focused. And it's just like, I got 2 jobs. I wasn't able to get to it.
Yeah.
Well, be able to listen and be an ear, because sometimes students just need to like let it off. And then, oh, great, I feel so much better. Now I can learn.
So you got me thinking, what if, and then this may already be a thing, but like you said, let's say you give them a list of math problems, 10 questions. They understand the basic concepts, and maybe they go somewhere within the formula equation, they miss a step. Is there a way that they can maybe take a picture of their paper, upload it into an AI generated ChatGPT or Gemini, something like that, and ask it, where did I go wrong? That's the prompt, and it spits out, here's where you made a mistake, here's how you fix it. Is that something that you know of that's already out there, or is that kind of what you were talking about as far as understanding ways to help students when they miss problems?
I think that's how students are currently using it.
Okay.
I know. Maybe I should pay for the Chat
You got the
GPT or the
free
Cloud.
version.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
and then get the full access.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna pay for that just so I can see what's up. So I think students who can pay for it are already doing that.
Sure.
And just say, oh, okay, cool. And then I have to believe AI is already there.
Okay.
And if it's not there, then it's about to be there soon.
Okay.
So I think that's how students are currently using it, or going to use it soon, to get some instant feedback. Like, if they're working at 2 a.m., professor's not up to respond, or no one else is up, so they can do that. Okay. I think that's kind of how it's going to be used. What I'm thinking of is in like having students work in groups.
Okay.
And then each group work with AI to create a problem for other groups to work on.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like the entry level one. But then eventually we want each group to create a problem with the AI that's going to stump the other groups in the class. So I want to, a little fun, a little competition type of thing. So that's kind of initially what I've thought about so far with using AI in my class. I haven't taught class in a minute, but I'm about to teach it next fall.
Okay.
So that's what that's what I plan on doing. And then I also plan on interweaving like some of my projects and having students use AI to, I guess, do a little bit of research. Yeah, I can summarize things for them, but I got to think about that more. Like, I mean, at this conference, there's STEM with the STEMists, and they're all STEM professionals of color. Okay. So one of my projects is to research STEM professionals of color. And I give a long list. So I haven't thought about that one yet, but I just started thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah. I think about that, and just the fact that there's still a lot of schools, and I don't know what it is on the higher ed level, at least in the K-12 level, a lot of them still have it blocked. Like, you can't even, like, because I tried to tell students, okay, we're gonna do a project. It's totally fine to use AI for some support, and then they go to the website and chat or whatever, and it's blocked. So what is your take, and are you seeing that in higher ed level? Like, if students log on, are they able to access AI? And then what are your thoughts on, should they be banned when it comes to maybe the K-12 level?
Yeah, so I haven't seen it blocked much.
Okay.
I've heard of, I'm thinking about classes where there's a lot of writing.
Yeah.
I've heard of people like trying to send student work through AI to see if it was done with AI, but I haven't seen like anything revolutionary, like, oh my God, this is what everyone should do and a bunch of people do it. I haven't seen anything like that yet. Okay. In K-12, I don't think it should be blocked, because that's like stopping students from doing stuff in the future. It's the future. You shouldn't do that. Like, come on. Yeah. I mean, at least that's my thinking. I'm not in K-12 settings, and so I'm not in those settings.
It's not going anywhere at the end of the
day.
AI is here. It's just like cell phones or internet when they first came around. People were pushing back, but at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is here. It's evolving, and it's going to continue to evolve whether we like it or not. And kids are going to use it. Okay,
I know it's your podcast, but let me ask you.
Okay, go for it.
Like, you had free reign to do AI in your class.
Okay.
How would you do it? Because I know I'm going to get something for you.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. So I do project-based learning. I absolutely love it, because the reality of it is, even if you work remotely, you're going to work in a team when you get an adult, whatever profession you go into. So I try to teach them the skills already early on, the idea of working in teams, collaboration. Here's a project that you need to work on, and as a group, we're going to solve it. Again, the reality of it is, in this day and time, we're utilizing AI as adults. So why is it wrong to ask the students to train the students on how to use AI at an early age? Again, working on projects, working in teams at an early age, so that by the time they become professionals, they are well versed with this. And again, this is the age of technology generation that they're growing up into. So yes, I'm all for it. But again, if I'm in a position where I'm at a school or district level where it's blocked or it's banned, so the kids don't have access to it, it does make it difficult. But that is how I would incorporate it in the classroom, is allowing students, here's a project, generate some ideas, some starting points, and go from there and show them how to tweak it and how to work through it. I've been through a few workshops where they use chat bots, and I still haven't gotten there yet as far as my knowledge capability, but just general putting in prompts and getting some feedback from chat or artificial intelligence, to me, is very helpful.
Okay, what about like content, something content specific,
Okay.
even if that includes one of your projects? Can you just give me, you know what I'm saying, like something, let's just say some order of operations related or something pre-algebra related.
Algebra? Okay, so I teach.
See, I need this.
Well, okay, so I don't know how much you utilize, especially when it comes to lesson planning. Here's the thing about me. I taught about 10 years ago. I was in the classroom. I did history. I was a history teacher. And honestly, I left the classroom because I hated lesson planning. Fast forward 10 years later, I'm in the classroom again. AI is around. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how I was surviving lesson planning, grading papers, running the data, all of those things without artificial intelligence. Like I was doing this from scratch. It's been so helpful to whip up a unit, to whip up a yearly plan, to whip up a lesson plan, a weekly plan, whatever I need. And the thing I like about it is it remembers what I did before. So
That's
I
what
can
I'm talking
build
about.
upon that.
That's
So
what I'm talking about.
sometimes it still has some tweaks that you had to do. So sometimes I had to re-upload my last unit. It was like, okay, here's what I did last. Give me the same template. Give me the same format. Or I had to tell it, oh, you missed this part. You missed that part. So you still had to do some tweaking. But when it comes to lesson planning, across the board, no matter what content you're on, math, history, science, English, PE, don't matter. You can put that information in and it helps me get ideas. Again, I'm a project-based learning type of person, so I ask it for projects. So I'm like, create a folder for me. I need several different areas, and it generates these ideas for me. And then I can start putting prompts together, or putting material resources together, and it just works and flows so much easier.
I needed to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry. I took over the podcast real quick. My bad.
We got a co-host today. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like I said, no matter what your content is, it does help you provide some opportunities for ideas. I don't find myself to be the most creative person, but if you give me like a little spark, I can take that idea and run with it. I just need a little bit of inspiration sometimes. And that has been
Same
very
thing with the
helpful.
students.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is exactly what we can prompt students. Oh, and you said already.
Yeah.
Use it to get you started, get
Yeah.
some ideas. Okay, got it.
There we go.
See? Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add to this conversation, Doc?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I wasn't ready for the AI question, but I just walked right into it.
And I gotta keep you on your toes.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
that's
Yes,
what I
sir.
do.
I mean, I'm eager to get back into the classroom
Okay.
so I can really just start leaning in and jumping into it more, seeing what students think about it, seeing how students are going to use it, and seeing how the usage evolves.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited and then there's going to be, for lack of a better word, different levels of AI literacy.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what? I'll be darned.
AI literacy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because some students will have access to it at an earlier age,
Yeah.
and they like had the paid version since they was 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? And then other students like, oh nah, we don't. I just never used that.
Yeah.
So good, cool. You know, we're gonna start now. You know what I'm saying? And I just, it's a really important tool that I think, we really would be kind of at a disadvantage if we didn't embrace it. You know, it wasn't that long ago that people was like, nah, we'll never do online homework.
Yeah.
Like everywhere now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I would never do that. Like,
Remember online school was looked down upon when COVID happened?
oh, University of Phoenix. Oh, nah, I don't like that. You got a degree from there? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Nope, not anymore.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's going to be, I'm crazy. Our grandchildren are going to have friends who marry an AI bot.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What does that look?
That's a prediction, but
okay,
that
what does that look like? Marrying an online AI bot.
I mean that it's going to be look like human. You know what I'm saying? And going to talk like human. And that 2 more generations like that will be here. I mean,
never know.
And I've seen movies about it too. I told y'all.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I'm Dr. Akins, and I'm with
Dr. Vance and Nguyen.
Vance and Nguyen. It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you.